The bridge of the Eternal Dominion hummed with quiet activity. Admiral Kethvar stood near the main viewing screen, his scaled hands clasped behind his back. The massive Zephyrian warship moved through space like a metal giant, its dark hull reflecting the distant stars. Around him, his crew worked at their stations with practiced efficiency. The Third Fleet had been patrolling this sector for 3 months now. Same routine every day. Check the outer colonies, scan for pirates, make sure the lesser species remembered their place. It was boring work for such a powerful fleet, but the Empire demanded order in all its territories. Lieutenant Commander Vexithai looked up from his sensor station. His yellow eyes glowed brighter when he was excited, and right now they were practically blazing. "Admiral, I have something strange on long-range sensors." Kethvar turned toward him. After 30 years of military service, he had learned to pay attention when his officers used the word strange. "Show me." The main screen flickered and changed. A tactical display appeared, showing the local star system. Kepler 442b hung in space like a blue marble, surrounded by its asteroid belt. Most of the rocks were worthless, but some contained rare metals that the Empire mined. There, Vexithai pointed to a small blip on the edge of the display. Single vessel, approximately frigate class. It appeared 15 minutes ago. Kethvar studied the reading. The ship was small compared to his dreadnought, maybe 1/10 the size. Identification? None, sir. The ship does not match any design in our database. No response to standard hails. Energy signature is unusual. Unusual how? Vexithai hesitated. I have never seen anything like it, Admiral. The power readings don't match any known drive system. Plasma, fusion, antimatter. Nothing fits the pattern. Kethvar felt a flicker of interest. In his long career, he had encountered dozens of different species. Most were primitive compared to the Zephyrian Empire. Some had been conquered, others had submitted peacefully. All had technology that made sense once you understood their development path. "What is it doing?" he asked. "Scanning the asteroid field. It appears to be conducting some kind of survey operation." The Admiral moved closer to the screen. The unknown ship was moving slowly through the rocks, its path methodical and careful. Whatever they were looking for, they were being thorough about it. "Options?" Kethvar asked his bridge crew. Commander Yithran, his second-in-command, spoke. "First, could be salvagers from one of the outer colonies. Some of the conquered species have been known to scavenge in remote systems. With unknown technology?" Vexithai shook his head. "Respectfully, Commander, this is not salvage equipment. This is something new." Chief Tactical Officer Morketh leaned forward at his station. "Recommend we investigate, Admiral. If this is a new species, the Empire will want to know about them. If they have advanced technology, we need to assess the threat level." Kethvar nodded slowly. The Empire had not reached its current dominance by ignoring unknowns. Every new species was either a potential subject or a potential threat. Either way, they needed to be catalogued and dealt with appropriately. Set course for the unknown vessel. All ships, maintain formation. Weapons to stand by, but do not power up targeting systems. We investigate first. Across the star system, Captain Jake Morrison sat in the command chair of the Silent Runner. The human ship was a fraction of the size of the Zephyrian vessels, but it was packed with the most advanced technology Earth could produce. Every surface was covered with sensors, computers, and experimental equipment. Chief Science Officer Lisa Park looked up from her station. "Jake, we have got what we came for. The Zephyrian patrol patterns are exactly what intelligence predicted. Their Third Fleet follows the same route every time, same timing, same ship formations." Morrison nodded. The information they had gathered would be valuable to the Colonial Defense Force. The Zephyrian Empire was planning to expand into this sector within the year. Knowing how their fleets moved would give humanity a crucial advantage when the time came. "Any signs they have detected us?" Morrison asked. Navigation Officer Ben Carter checked his instruments. "Negative. The quantum displacement field is holding steady. To their sensors, we look like just another asteroid." The Silent Runner had been hiding in the asteroid belt for 6 days, using its advanced stealth systems to avoid detection while gathering intelligence. The ship could make itself nearly invisible to most sensor types, but staying hidden required constant attention to detail. "Sir," communications specialist Amy Johnson spoke up from her station, "I am picking up increased chatter from the Zephyrian fleet. They sound excited about something." Morrison frowned. "Excited how?" "They have found something they were not expecting. An unknown contact." Amy paused, listening to the alien communications through her translator system. "Admiral Kethvar is ordering his entire fleet to investigate." Lisa Park quickly checked her sensor readings. "Jake, they are talking about us. Our stealth system has a small electromagnetic signature. It is barely detectable, but their long-range sensors must have picked it up." Morrison felt his stomach tighten. The silent runner was designed for reconnaissance, not combat. Against a single Zephyrian ship they might have a chance. Against an entire fleet they would be destroyed in minutes. "Distance to the fleet?" he asked. 40 million kilometers and closing. At their current speed they will reach our position in 23 minutes. Morrison made his decision quickly. The mission was complete, and the intelligence they had gathered was too valuable to risk. "All stations prepare for emergency departure. Lisa, transmit our data package to Earth immediately. If something happens to us, Command needs to know what we learned." "Data package away," Lisa confirmed. "Earth will receive it in 18 hours. Ben, prepare to engage quantum displacement drive. Amy, monitor Zephyrian communications. I want to know the moment they start getting serious about finding us." The bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency. They had trained for this situation, but none of them had expected to face an entire Zephyrian fleet. The Silent Runner was humanity's most advanced ship, but it was still just one vessel against dozens. "Quantum drive is ready," Ben reported. "We can jump on your command." Morrison watched the tactical display as the Zephyrian fleet approached. The alien ships moved in perfect formation, their massive hulls bristling with weapons. Each one was larger and more heavily armed than anything in the human fleet. "Amy, what are they saying now?" "Admiral Kethvar is curious about our technology. He has never seen an energy signature like ours. They think we might be a new species." Morrison almost smiled. If only they knew how right they were. 10 minutes to contact," Ben announced. "Wait until they are 5 minutes out, then execute jump. I want them to see us disappear." The minutes crawled by. On the screen, the Zephyrian ships grew larger as they approached. Morrison could see the details of their hulls now, the weapon ports and sensor arrays that made them so dangerous. 5 minutes, Ben called out. "Execute jump. Take us home." "Don't mind." Silent Runner shimmered and vanished, leaving behind only a faint electromagnetic trail that confused Zephyrian sensors for several seconds before fading completely. Admiral Kethvar stared at the empty space where the unknown ship had been. His tactical officer confirmed what his eyes had already told him. The vessel was gone. "How?" he asked. Vexithai was frantically checking his instruments. "Unknown, sir. One moment it was there, the next it simply was not. I have never seen anything like it." Kethvar felt something he had not experienced in years: uncertainty. In all his campaigns he had never encountered technology that could make a ship simply disappear. The implications were troubling. "Record everything," he ordered. "Every sensor reading, every communication, every piece of data we collected. The Emperor will want to see this." As the Third Fleet continued its patrol, Admiral Kethvar could not shake the feeling that everything had just changed. Somewhere in the galaxy, there was a species with technology beyond Zephyrian understanding. The question was whether they were friend or foe. The unknown ship had appeared, then vanished. But Kethvar had the uncomfortable feeling that this was not the last time the Empire would encounter this mysterious new player. Admiral Kethvar could not sleep. 3 days had passed since the encounter with the unknown ship, but the mystery consumed his thoughts. He stood in his private quarters aboard the Eternal Dominion, staring out at the stars through the reinforced viewing port. The ship that had vanished without a trace haunted him. In 30 years of military service, he had never seen technology that advanced. Ships did not simply disappear from sensors. There were always traces, heat signatures, quantum disturbances, something that instruments could detect and track. But this vessel had left almost nothing behind. A soft chime indicated someone at his door. "Enter," Kethvar called out. "Chief," researcher Mordun stepped into the room. The elderly Zephyrian carried a datapad in his clawed hands, his expression troubled. "Admiral, I have completed the preliminary analysis of our sensor data. What did you find?" Mordun activated the datapad, projecting a holographic display into the air between them. "The electromagnetic signature we detected is unlike anything in our database. We have records of over 400 different species and their technologies. This matches none of them." Kethvar studied the swirling patterns of energy shown in the display. Even to his untrained eye, the readings looked strange. Could it be a natural phenomenon, some kind of space anomaly? "Negative, Admiral. The pattern shows clear signs of artificial generation. This is definitely technology, but technology based on principles we do not understand." The Admiral felt a chill run down his spine. The Zephyrian Empire had conquered most of this sector of the galaxy through superior technology and military might. The idea that another species might possess more advanced capabilities was deeply disturbing. "Recommendations?" he asked. "We need more data. Much more. One brief encounter is not enough to determine the nature of this technology or the species that created it." Kethvar nodded slowly. "Prepare a full report. I want everything we know sent to the capital immediately." On the distant world of Zeph Prime, Emperor Sektar received the report in his private study. The massive palace complex sprawled across several square kilometers, its black towers reaching toward the sky like claws. The Emperor sat behind a desk carved from a single piece of volcanic glass, reading the data from Admiral Kethvar's encounter. The more he read, the more concerned he became. High Admiral Vokhtar, the Empire's supreme military commander, stood at attention beside the desk. His battle scars told the story of dozens of campaigns against rebellious colonies and rival species. "Your Imperial Majesty, what are your orders?" Emperor Sektar set down the datapad and looked up at his most trusted general. "This unknown species represents a potential threat to the Empire. We cannot allow advanced technology to exist outside our control. Shall I order additional fleets to the outer sectors?" "Yes. Triple our patrol strength in that region. I want every system searched, every asteroid belt scanned, every possible hiding place investigated. Find this ship and the species that built it. And when we find them," the Emperor's eyes glowed with cold fire, "determine their capabilities. If they can be conquered, we conquer them. If they can be negotiated with, we negotiate. If they pose a threat to the Empire." He let the sentence hang in the air. Vokhtar understood. "It will be done, Your Imperial Majesty." Meanwhile, in a solar system far from Zephyrian space, the silent runner approached Earth. The blue and white planet grew larger on the viewing screen as Captain Morrison guided his ship toward the orbital defense stations that protected humanity's homeworld. Earth looked peaceful from space, but Morrison knew that appearance was deceiving. The planet bristled with defensive systems, hidden weapon platforms, and early warning sensors. Humanity had learned to be careful in a dangerous galaxy. "Terran Control, this is Silent Runner requesting permission to dock." Morrison spoke into his communication system. "Silent Runner, you are cleared for docking at Station 7. Admiral Stone is waiting to debrief you personally." Morrison felt a mixture of pride and worry. Personal debriefings with Admiral Stone meant their mission had been more important than he realized. It also meant the information they had gathered was probably going to lead to serious consequences. 20 minutes. Later, Morrison sat across from Admiral Karen Stone in her office high above Earth's surface. The Admiral was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. She had been fighting for human independence since before Morrison was born. "Tell me about the encounter," she said without preamble. Morrison described everything: the Zephyrian patrol patterns, their military formations, and most importantly, how they had reacted to the Silent Runner's brief appearance. Admiral Stone listened without interruption, occasionally making notes on her personal datapad. They became obsessed with finding you, she observed when he finished. Yes, ma'am. Our stealth technology clearly caught them off guard. They have never seen anything like our quantum displacement drive. Admiral Stone nodded thoughtfully. Dr. Hayes will want to hear this. His research team has been working on improvements to the system. She activated her communication panel. Send Dr. Richard Hayes to my office immediately. While they waited, Morrison asked the question that had been bothering him since the encounter. Admiral, are we ready for what comes next? If the Zephyrians find us, if they discover Earth's location, can we defend ourselves? That depends on how much time we have to prepare, Stone replied. The intelligence you gathered suggests they will expand into this sector within the year, but now that they know an unknown species exists, they may accelerate their timeline. Dr. Hayes arrived within minutes. The head of Terran Research and Development was a thin man with wild hair and excited eyes. He practically vibrated with enthusiasm as Morrison described the quantum drive's performance. Excellent. The electromagnetic signature was minimal, you said? And the displacement effect lasted how long? Hayes fired questions rapidly, scribbling notes as Morrison answered. The important thing, Admiral Stone interrupted, is that we now know our technology works against Zephyrian sensors. They could not track the silent runner after it jumped. More than that, Hayes said excitedly, if their best sensors cannot understand our drive systems, imagine how confused they will be by our weapons technology, or our defensive systems. We have been developing these systems specifically to counter their known capabilities. Morrison felt a spark of hope. Humanity's technology was newer than the Zephyrian empires, designed from the ground up to be different and unexpected. While the aliens had focused on brute force and overwhelming firepower, humans had concentrated on stealth, mobility, and precision. What about Director Cross? Morrison asked. Does colonial intelligence need to be briefed? Admiral Stone smiled grimly. Amanda is already coordinating with the other colonies. Every human settlement within 100 light-years is being warned about possible Zephyrian expansion. We are also accelerating production of our new defensive systems. How long do we have? Morrison asked. Unknown. But based on your report, the Zephyrians are now actively searching for us. Emperor Sektar does not like unknowns in his territory. He will commit significant resources to finding whoever built that mysterious ship. Dr. Hayes looked up from his notes. That might actually work in our favor. The more ships they send to search empty space, the fewer they have available for actual conquest. Assuming they do not find us, Morrison pointed out. They will not, Hayes said confidently. Our colonies are hidden. Our ships use stealth technology they cannot detect, and our communication systems are quantum encrypted. As long as we are careful, we can remain invisible until we are ready to reveal ourselves. Admiral Stone stood up, indicating the meeting was over. Captain Morrison, your crew will receive commendations for this mission. The intelligence you gathered may have saved thousands of human lives. As Morrison left the Admiral's office, he wondered if they were being too optimistic. The Zephyrian Empire controlled hundreds of star systems and commanded fleets that could destroy planets. Humanity had perhaps 24 colonies and a few hundred advanced ships, but they also had something the Empire lacked, the advantage of surprise. For now, the Zephyrians only knew that an unknown ship had appeared and vanished. They had no idea what they were really dealing with. In the depths of space, Zephyrian fleets spread out across dozens of star systems, searching for any trace of the mysterious vessel. Asteroid belts were scanned, nebulae were explored, and remote planets were investigated. The Empire's war machine turned its attention to solving the puzzle of the unknown ship, but the harder they searched, the more resources they committed to the hunt. Ships that should have been expanding the Empire's borders were instead chasing shadows across empty space. Planetary governors complained about reduced patrol schedules. Some of the Empire's subject species began to whisper about weakness in their masters. The unknown ship had appeared for only a few minutes, then vanished without a trace. But its brief presence was already changing the balance of power in the galaxy, in ways that neither side fully understood yet. The largest military operation in Zephyrian history was underway. Across 50 star systems, hundreds of warships spread out in search patterns that covered millions of cubic kilometers of space. Admiral Kethvar commanded the primary search fleet from the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, his eyes fixed on the tactical displays that showed the positions of dozens of ships under his command. Report from the 7th Fleet. Communications Officer Sigh announced. They have completed deep scans of the Rigel system. No trace of unknown technology detected. Kethvar nodded grimly. It was the same report he had been receiving for weeks. The mysterious ship that had vanished from his sensors seemed to have disappeared completely. No electromagnetic signatures, no quantum disturbances, no evidence that it had ever existed at all. What about the 12th Fleet? He asked. Still, investigating the Vega Nebula. Admiral Morkex reports that the gas clouds are interfering with their sensors, but they are conducting a grid search of every possible hiding spot. The search was becoming a nightmare of logistics and resources. Every day, dozens of ships burned, fuel and supplies while chasing shadows across empty space. The Empire's other military operations were suffering as vessels were reassigned to the investigation. Commander Yithran approached Kethvar with a data pad in his hands. Admiral, we are receiving complaints from planetary governors. The reduced patrol schedules are causing problems in some of the outer territories. Kethvar took the pad and scrolled through the messages. Governor Sekmoon of Altair Prime reported increased pirate activity. Governor Vexron of the Centauri colonies mentioned unrest among the local population. 3 different worlds had requested additional security forces. Send standard responses, Kethvar ordered. Tell them the search operation has priority. When we find this unknown species, normal patrol schedules will resume. But privately, the Admiral was beginning to wonder if they would ever find their quarry. The ship had appeared for less than an hour, gathered some kind of data from the asteroid field, then vanished using technology that defied Zephyrian understanding. For all they knew, it could be anywhere in the galaxy by now. His personal communication device chimed. A priority message from Emperor Sektar himself appeared on the screen. Admiral Kethvar, report to the capital immediately for strategic consultation. Kethvar felt his stomach tighten. Personal summons from the Emperor were never good news. 2 days later, Admiral Kethvar stood at attention in the Imperial throne room on Zeph Prime. The massive chamber was designed to intimidate, with its soaring ceiling and walls carved from black stone. Emperor Sektar sat on the crystal throne, his yellow eyes reflecting the light from dozens of torches. Admiral, the Emperor's voice echoed through the chamber. Explain to me why the Empire's greatest military force has spent 2 months searching empty space. Kethvar chose his words carefully. Your Imperial Majesty, we are dealing with technology beyond our current understanding. The unknown ship used some form of instantaneous travel that leaves no traces our sensors can detect. And in 2 months of searching with hundreds of ships you have found nothing? The search continues, Your Majesty. We have eliminated dozens of star systems as possibilities. Each day brings us closer to finding their point of origin. Emperor Sektar leaned forward on his throne. Admiral, the Empire spans over 300 star systems. We rule billions of subjects and command the most powerful military force in this sector of the galaxy. Are you telling me that a single ship from an unknown species can simply disappear and avoid our entire fleet? The question hung in the air like a blade. Kethvar knew that the wrong answer could end his career or his life. Your Majesty, this species clearly possesses advanced technology. But advanced technology requires an industrial base, colonies, supply lines. They cannot hide forever. They have hidden for 2 months already. High Admiral Vakhtar stepped forward from his position beside the throne. Your Imperial Majesty, perhaps we should consider that this unknown ship may not be from this region of space at all. It could have traveled here from the far reaches of the galaxy. Emperor Sektar considered this. Explain. If they have technology that allows instantaneous travel, they could operate from bases thousands of light years away. Our search area may be too small. The Emperor's eyes blazed brighter. You are suggesting we expand the search to cover the entire galaxy? Not the entire galaxy, Your Majesty. but perhaps a much larger area than we have been investigating. Kethvar saw the trap they were walking into. Your Imperial Majesty, expanding the search would require even more resources. We would need to recall fleets from the outer territories, reduce our expansion operations, and commit nearly every ship in the Empire to the investigation. Then that is what we will do, the Emperor declared. This unknown species represents a potential threat to everything we have built. I will not allow them to operate in our space with impunity. Across the galaxy, in a hidden monitoring station buried deep within an asteroid in the Oort cloud of the Alpha Centauri system, Colonel Steve Martinez watched the Zephyrian search operations through a network of concealed sensors. The small facility was one of dozens that humanity had established to keep watch on their potential enemies. Activity report, Lieutenant, Martinez said to his communications officer. Lieutenant Beth Adams looked up from her console. The Zephyrian search fleets are expanding their operations again. They have added another 50 ships to the investigation and extended their search grid to include the Polaris sector. Martinez studied the tactical display that showed Zephyrian fleet movements across a 100 light-year radius. Red dots marked the positions of alien warships, their search patterns clearly visible as geometric grids overlaying the star map. They are getting closer to our outer colonies, he observed. The Kepler 438 system is only 15 light-years from their current search area. Should we issue a warning to Governor Phillips? Adams asked. Already done. All colonies within 50 light-years of Zephyrian activity have been notified. They are maintaining communication silence and have their stealth systems on full power. The monitoring station's sensors detected another group of Zephyrian ships entering the search area. Martinez counted 12 heavy cruisers and a battleship, all moving in formation toward a nebula that might hide enemy vessels. Sir, Adams said, I am receiving a priority transmission from Earth. Admiral Stone wants a full briefing on Zephyrian search patterns. Martinez activated the quantum communication array. The message would take several hours to reach Earth, but it would be completely undetectable by Zephyrian sensors. Tell the Admiral that the search operation is straining their resources. They have recalled ships from 3 different expansion fleets and reduced patrol schedules in over 20 star systems. Any signs they are getting closer to finding us? Negative. Their search methods are systematic but predictable. They are looking for conventional technology, fusion drives, antimatter reactors, plasma weapons. Our quantum displacement systems are still completely invisible to their sensors. But even as Martinez sent his report, he felt a growing sense of unease. The Zephyrian Empire was committing enormous resources to finding humanity. Sooner or later, pure chance might lead them to one of the human colonies. And when that happened, the careful game of hide-and-seek would become open warfare. On the bridge of the Silent Runner, Captain Morrison reviewed intelligence reports from across human space. His ship was currently hiding in the shadow of a gas giant in the Wolf 359 system, using its gravitational field to mask their quantum signatures while they observed Zephyrian fleet movements. Jake, Chief Science Officer Lisa Park called from her station. You need to see this. Morrison moved to her console where she had displayed a tactical analysis of Zephyrian search patterns. The alien fleets were moving in expanding spiral, patterns covering more and more space with each passing week. At their current rate of expansion, Lisa explained, they will reach the outer boundaries of our colonial space within 6 months. And our colonies? Still hidden. The stealth systems are working perfectly. But Jake, look at this. She highlighted several areas on the star map. They are not just searching randomly anymore. Someone is analyzing their search patterns and optimizing their coverage. This is becoming a scientific investigation, not just a military operation. Morrison felt a chill. Random searches could be avoided through careful planning and good luck. But a systematic scientific investigation would eventually find what it was looking for, especially with the resources the Zephyrian Empire could bring to bear. Send a message to Admiral Stone, he ordered. Tell her the timeline may be accelerating. The Zephyrians are getting smarter about their search methods. As the Silent Runner maintained its silent vigil, Morrison watched the alien fleets continue their relentless hunt. Somewhere in the depths of space, Hundreds of Zephyrian warships were searching for any trace of the technology that had briefly appeared in their territory. They had no idea that they were not hunting a single ship or even a small exploration fleet. They were searching for an entire civilization that had been watching them for years, learning their weaknesses, and preparing for the day when hiding would no longer be possible. The unknown ship had appeared and vanished, leaving. Scout Captain Zexnil had been searching empty space for 4 months when his sensors finally detected something interesting. His light cruiser, the Void Stalker, was investigating the Tau Ceti system when the long-range scanners picked up artificial structures orbiting the 4th planet. "Captain," his sensor operator called out, "I am reading multiple artificial satellites and what appears to be a space station around the planet, designated Tau Ceti 4. Zexnil moved to the sensor display. The planet looked like a smaller version of the Zephyrian home world, with blue oceans and green continents. But what caught his attention were the obvious signs of civilization: orbital platforms, communication satellites, and the geometric patterns of cities visible on the night side of the planet. "Life signs?" he asked. "Confirmed. Large population centers across 3 continents. Energy readings suggest industrial activity and space travel capability." Zexnil felt his heart rate increase. After months of searching empty systems, they had finally found something. Ship classifications. His tactical officer studied the readings carefully. Primitive fusion drives, basic metal hull construction. Nothing that matches the unknown vessel from Admiral Kethvar's report. But still worth investigating? "Definitely, Captain. This appears to be a previously unknown colony world with a significant population." Zexnil made his decision quickly. "Send a priority message to Admiral Kethvar. Tell him we have discovered an inhabited world with space travel capability. Request instructions and backup." "Message sent, Captain." "Good. Take us closer, but maintain defensive distance. If these are the people we have been looking for, they may have more advanced weapons than their ships suggest." Governor Paul Anderson was reviewing agricultural reports in his office when the emergency alarm started blaring throughout New Denver City. The sound meant only one thing: unidentified spacecraft had entered the Tau Ceti system. Anderson rushed to the Planetary Defense Center, where Colonel Mike Roberts was coordinating the colony's response. The main display showed a single alien vessel approaching their world, its design unlike anything in the human database. "How long until it reaches orbit?" Anderson asked. 6 hours at current speed," Roberts replied. "The ship is not responding to our communication attempts." "What about our defenses?" Roberts gestured at the tactical display. "We have 12 patrol boats and 6 orbital defense platforms. Against a ship that size, we might be able to put up a fight, but we cannot win." Anderson felt sick. New Denver was home to 2.3 million people, most of them civilians who had come here to build a new life, far from Earth's crowded cities. The colony had been established only 40 years ago, and its defenses were designed to handle pirates and minor threats, not alien warships. "Send a distress signal to Earth immediately," Anderson ordered. "Emergency priority. Tell them we have made contact with an alien species and need immediate assistance." "Sir," the communications officer spoke up, "at maximum transmission power, Earth will not receive our message for 18 hours. Even if they send help immediately, the fastest ships would take weeks to reach us." Anderson closed his eyes. New Denver was on its own. Admiral Kethvar received Scout Captain Zexnil's message, while his fleet was investigating an asteroid field in the Vega system. The news that one of his ships had finally found an inhabited world sent excitement through the entire fleet. "Set course for Tau Ceti immediately," Kethvar ordered. "All ships, maximum speed." Commander Yithron looked up from his navigation console. "Admiral, at maximum speed we will reach the system in 36 hours. Too long. These could be the people who built the unknown ship. If they detect our scout vessel, they might flee before we can investigate properly." "Sir," Communications Officer Yextai interrupted. "Captain Zexnil is reporting that the inhabitants appear to use primitive technology, fusion drives and projectile weapons. Nothing like the advanced systems we encountered. Kethvar frowned. Could they be hiding their true capabilities? Possible, Admiral. Or this could be an unrelated species entirely. We take no chances. Send a message to Captain Zexneal. Tell him to maintain distance, but prevent any ships from leaving the system. If they try to escape, he is authorized to use force. The Admiral stared at the star chart showing their course to Tau Ceti. After months of searching empty space, they had finally found something. Whether these humans were connected to the mysterious ship or not, they represented an unknown factor in Zephyrian space. The Empire dealt with unknown factors in only one way. On Earth, the emergency session of the Colonial Defense Council lasted less than an hour. Admiral Stone sat at the head of the conference table, surrounded by the highest-ranking military officers in the Terran fleet. New Denver's distress signal confirms our worst fears, she announced. The Zephyrians have found one of our colonies. General Carl Brooks, head of Planetary Defense Forces, leaned forward. What are our options? Limited, Admiral Stone admitted. The nearest fleet units are in the Sol system. Even pushing our engines to maximum, we cannot reach Tau Ceti for 3 weeks. What about the experimental ships? Dr. Hayes asked. The vessels with quantum displacement drives? We have exactly 3 ships equipped with the new drive systems. The Silent Runner is the only one with an experienced crew. Admiral Stone activated the holographic display showing human space. New Denver appeared as a blue dot surrounded by vast empty areas where Zephyrian fleets were conducting their search operations. Captain Morrison and the Silent Runner are our only hope of reaching New Denver before the Zephyrian main fleet arrives. Director Amanda Cross spoke up from her position at the far end of the table. What can one ship do against an entire Zephyrian fleet? Unknown, Admiral Stone replied honestly. But Morrison's crew has the most experience with Zephyrian technology. If anyone can find a way to help New Denver, it is them. And if they cannot? General Brooks asked. Admiral Stone was quiet for a long moment. Then 2.3 million human civilians are about to become prisoners or casualties of the Zephyrian Empire. Captain, Morrison received the emergency orders while the Silent Runner was refueling at a hidden supply depot in the asteroid belt of the Proxima Centauri system. The message from Admiral Stone was brief and terrifying. New Denver had been discovered by Zephyrian scouts, and the Silent Runner was the only ship close enough to provide assistance. Lisa, Morrison called to his science officer. How long to reach Tau Ceti using quantum displacement? Lisa Park quickly ran the calculations. Approximately 16 hours if we push the drive to maximum power. But Jake, that will drain our quantum cores completely. We would have maybe 1 or 2 more jumps before the system needs a full recharge. And New Denver's defenses? Minimal. 12 patrol boats and some orbital platforms. Against a Zephyrian scout ship, they might survive. Against a full fleet. She did not need to finish the sentence. Morrison made his decision. Set course for Tau Ceti. Maximum displacement speed. Jake, Chief Engineer Dan Foster spoke up from his station. Are we really going to take on an entire Zephyrian fleet with 1 ship? Morrison looked around at his crew. These 12 people were among the best humanity had produced. Scientists, engineers, and soldiers who had volunteered for the most dangerous missions in human space. They had trained for this moment, even though none of them had expected it to come so soon. We are not going to fight an entire fleet, Morrison said quietly. We are going to do what we do best. Stay hidden, gather intelligence, and find a way to help those people. And if hiding is not enough? Navigation Officer Ben Carter asked. Morrison was quiet for a moment. Through the viewing port, he could see the stars that marked the boundary between human and Zephyrian space. Somewhere out there, 2.3 million humans were depending on them. Then we adapt, he said finally. We find a way to make the impossible possible. That is what humans do. The Silent Runner shimmered and vanished from normal space, beginning its desperate race toward Tau Ceti. Behind them, the main Terran fleet was already preparing to follow, but they would arrive weeks too late to affect the outcome. In the Tau Ceti system, Governor Anderson watched the alien scout ship maintain its position just outside orbital range. His communications officers had been trying to establish contact for hours, but the Zephyrian vessel remained silent. "Sir," Colonel Roberts reported, "our sensors are detecting multiple quantum signatures approaching the system. Large ships, moving at high speed." Anderson felt the last of his hope slip away. The scout ship had been calling for reinforcements. Soon, New Denver would face not one alien warship, but an entire fleet. "Evacuation status?" he asked. "We have civilian transports ready to leave orbit, but that scout ship will intercept them before they can escape the system." Anderson nodded grimly. The people of New Denver were trapped, and help was still weeks away. All they could do now was wait and hope that first contact with an alien species would not end in disaster. In the depths of space, Admiral Kethvar's fleet raced toward the Tau Ceti system at maximum speed. The admiral stood on his bridge watching the stars blur past as his ships pushed their engines to the limit. After months of searching, they had finally found something. Whether these humans were connected to the mysterious ship or not, they were about to learn that the Zephyrian Empire did not tolerate unknowns in. The silent runner dropped out of quantum displacement at the edge of the Tau Ceti system, just as Admiral Kethvar's fleet began its attack on New Denver. Captain Morrison watched in horror as Zephyrian plasma beams turned the colony's orbital defense platforms into expanding clouds of metal and fire. "Jake," Lisa Park called out from her sensor station, "they are targeting civilian evacuation ships. 3 transports destroyed, 2 more under attack." Morrison clenched his fists as he watched the one-sided battle unfold on his tactical display. 12 Zephyrian warships had surrounded the planet, their massive hulls bristling with weapons that could crack continents. The few remaining human patrol boats were putting up a brave fight, but their projectile weapons could barely scratch Zephyrian armor. "Distance to the Zephyrian fleet?" Morrison asked. 2 million kilometers and closing," Navigation Officer Ben Carter reported. "At our current stealth settings, we can get much closer before they detect us." Chief Engineer Dan Foster looked up from his console. "Jake, what exactly are we planning to do here? We have 1 ship against 12 Zephyrian warships. Our weapons might be able to damage one of their ships, but we cannot fight an entire fleet." Morrison stared at the tactical display, watching red icons representing Zephyrian ships systematically destroy everything the humans had built around Tau Ceti 4. 2.3 million people lived on that planet, and most of them were about to become prisoners of the Zephyrian Empire, unless someone did something to stop it. "Ben, take us closer to the Zephyrian flagship. Lisa, I want a full scan of their fleet composition and weapon systems. Dan, prepare all weapon systems for combat." "Jake," Lisa said quietly, "are you planning what I think you are planning?" Morrison made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. "We are going to announce humanity's presence in this galaxy, and we are going to do it in a way the Zephyrian Empire will never forget." "1 ship against 12? Dan asked. "1 ship with technology they have never seen before," Morrison replied. "Lisa, open a communication channel to the Zephyrian flagship." On the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, Admiral Kethvar watched his fleet systematically destroy the primitive human defenses.
"The inhabitants of this world clearly possess space travel and basic fusion technology, but their weapons were pathetically weak compared to Zephyrian plasma batteries. Admiral," his communications officer called out, "we are receiving a transmission."
From an unknown source. "The signal is being broadcast on all frequencies." "Display it," Kethvar ordered. The main screen flickered, and the image of a human male appeared. He wore a uniform that Kethvar did not recognize, and his eyes held a cold determination that the Admiral found unsettling. "Zephyrian fleet," the human said in perfectly clear Zephyrian language. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Terran. Vessel Silent Runner. You are attacking defenseless civilians. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Kethvar felt a surge of excitement. This was it, the mysterious ship they had been searching for. "Scan for the source of that transmission," he ordered. "Negative contact, Admiral. The signal appears to be coming from empty space." Impossible. Enhanced scanners. Full spectrum analysis. But even as his crew worked frantically at their stations, Kethvar could not detect any trace of the ship that was broadcasting the message. The human captain continued speaking. Admiral Kethvar, you have been searching for us for months. You want to know who we are, where we come from, what kind of technology we possess. I will show you. Kethvar felt a chill run down his spine. How did this human know his name? I challenge you to single combat, Morrison continued. Your flagship against my ship. If you win, you can continue your attack on the planet. If I win, you withdraw your fleet and leave this system. Admiral, Commander Yithran said quietly, this could be a trap. Kethvar studied the human face on his screen. The captain showed no fear, only grim determination. After months of searching, the mysterious ship was finally revealing itself. This was the opportunity he had been waiting for. I accept your challenge, Kethvar announced. But when I destroy your primitive vessel, your people will surrender unconditionally. We shall see, Morrison replied, and the transmission ended. The silent runner shimmered into visibility less than 100 kilometers from the Zephyrian flagship. Morrison had gambled that the aliens' pride would overcome their caution, and he had been right. Admiral Kethvar wanted to face the mysterious ship that had eluded him for so long. All ships, maintain position, Kethvar broadcast to his fleet. The Eternal Dominion will handle this alone. Morrison smiled grimly. The Zephyrian admiral had just made exactly the mistake he had hoped for. Lisa, target their main plasma batteries. Dan, prepare quantum displacement mines. Quantum mines. Armed and ready, Foster reported. The battle began when the Eternal Dominion fired its massive forward plasma cannons. Beams of superheated energy that could melt through a kilometer of solid rock struck the space where the silent runner had been a microsecond before. But the human ship was no longer there. The silent runner reappeared behind the Zephyrian flagship, its advanced weapon systems already locked onto critical targets. Human plasma beams, designed specifically to penetrate Zephyrian armor, sliced through the dreadnought's rear shields like they were made of paper. Impossible, Kethvar breathed, as damage reports flooded his bridge. His ship's rear weapons array was gone, destroyed in the first exchange of fire. The silent runner vanished again, reappearing above the Eternal Dominion. This time, Morrison targeted the ship's main engines. Another barrage of precisely aimed fire left the massive warship drifting in space, its propulsion systems crippled. Admiral, his tactical officer reported in shock. Our engines are offline. Main weapons are down. How are they doing this? Kethvar had no answer. The human ship moved like nothing he had ever seen. Appearing and disappearing at will, their weapons seemed designed specifically to counter Zephyrian technology, penetrating shields and armor that should have been impenetrable. The silent runner materialized directly in front of the Eternal Dominion's bridge, so close that Morrison could see through the alien ship's viewing ports. A final message appeared on Kethvar's communication screen. Admiral, Morrison said, you wanted to know who we are. We are humanity. We have been watching your empire for decades, studying your technology, learning your weaknesses. This demonstration is just a small sample of what we are capable of. How? Kethvar managed to ask. While your empire focused on conquest and brute force, we focused on innovation and precision. Your ships are powerful, Admiral, but they are also predictable. We designed our technology specifically to counter yours. Around the system, the rest of the Zephyrian fleet watched in stunned silence as their flagship sat dead in space, completely helpless before a single human vessel. You have a choice, Morrison continued. Withdraw your fleet now and report to your emperor that you have encountered a species capable of defending itself. Continue this attack and discover what happens when humanity stops hiding. Admiral Kethvar looked around his bridge at the shocked faces of his crew. His ship was crippled, his weapons were destroyed, and a vessel 1/10 the size of his flagship had done it all in less than 5 minutes. All ships, he broadcast on the fleet frequency, withdraw to minimum safe distance. A wise decision, Morrison said. Tell your emperor that humanity is not interested in conquest. We want only to be left alone. But if the Zephyrian Empire threatens our colonies or our people, You will discover that we are far more dangerous than you imagined. The silent runner vanished one final time, leaving the Zephyrian fleet alone with their crippled flagship and their shattered assumptions about galactic power. On the surface of New Denver, Governor Anderson watched the alien ships begin to withdraw. He could hardly believe what he had just witnessed. A single human ship had faced down an entire Zephyrian fleet and won. "Sir," Colonel Roberts reported, "we are receiving a transmission from the unknown human ship." Morrison's face appeared on the colony's communication screens. "Governor Anderson, this is Captain Morrison of the Terran Defense Force. New Denver is safe. The Zephyrian threat has been neutralized." "Captain," Anderson managed to say, "who are you? Where did you come from?" "That is a long story, Governor. For now, know that humanity has more friends in the galaxy than you realized. Help is coming." As the silent runner disappeared into quantum space, heading back toward Earth with news of humanity's first victory, Admiral Kethavar sat in his damaged command chair and contemplated the impossible. The unknown ship had appeared, then vanished. But in those few minutes it had changed everything. The Zephyrian Empire was no longer the dominant force in this sector of the galaxy. Somewhere in the depths of space, a species called humanity was watching, waiting, and preparing, and the Empire would never be the same again. The message that Admiral Kethavar would soon carry back to Emperor Sektar was simple and terrifying. They had found the mysterious ship and learned the truth about its creators. The Zephyrian Empire had encountered humanity, and the Empire never stood a chance.